Hello, everyone. Are you tired already? Who learned a lot during those 3 days? Great. And you are probably full of the new information, so the happy information is that you will learn nothing at that one. It will be soft presentation. Yeah. But first, what it will be not about. So after most of the presentations, you get that inspiration, that cool energy of doing something new, using some new tool, maybe implementing it in your project, in your company, maybe try some new approach. But then there is Monday, you come to the office and you realize that you will do the same shit that you did before conference, nothing will change, and basically you are more depressed than you were before conference. So I will try to remind you that it's not so bad after all in your project. And I will do that by presenting you our most presentable fuck-ups that we had, different pathologies that we encounter, or just silly mistakes that could be avoided easily. So I know some of you came here with your colleagues or maybe even bosses. So I wanted all of you to, I want to make like crowd check, but anonymous. So I ask all of you to close your eyes. Everyone closed? There's no cheating there. And please raise your hand if you are sometimes unhappy with your project. Yeah, at least 10 people are lying, but okay, it's fine. You can open your eyes right now. So yeah, what I will try to do to remind you that maybe grass is greener at the neighbor's house, and maybe your peers that sometimes annoys you are a good person, basically, and you like them. Maybe your client is not so bad. Maybe he's a decent person who is trying to make the best of what he is doing and you are doing. Or maybe you have to figure it out what's the outcome of those case studies, let's call them. And you will know what lesson you will have there. So schedule is like 70% of hashing, which is Polish word that I made up. So it's not Polish, but it's basically making fun of. 20% of some reflections and thoughts, and unfortunately probably 10% of the presentation is just realization, sadness of the universe and our life. But yeah, it is what it is. So I'm Adam, to an IT CEO, demoted from CTO position by myself and my employees. But yeah, unfortunately, I hope you guys understand that there is a demotion. Most people congratulated me, but I don't know why. Now I have to deal with all those things that I will tell you about instead of just coding and having sometimes fun. I'm co-organizer of Wrocław RB conference, which is the oldest Ruby conference in Poland, co-organizer of Programistok that we don't do anymore, but we organized few editions. That was the biggest IT conference on the far east side of the Poland. Organizer of Białystok Ruby user group for 10 years already. Quite a big community we built during those 10 years, considering how small city Białystok is. I organized Railsgers twice in our city, Brook for beginners, and I'm also as a sailor and sailing instructor organizing back then Ruby on Lakes, now it's Nerds on Lakes, so it's even for developers where we sail and network, basically mostly network. But yeah, some sailing is involved. I'm speaker at dozens of meetups, but that's only my second, being a speaker second time at the bigger conference. Yeah, I love to network. If someone was there yesterday or 2 days ago at 3 a.m., I was there trying to network, but there was no one to network anymore. And I love to hear about your stories that we can all learn from. I have 15 years of experience, and because of running a company, I was involved in many different levels in few projects that I believe I learned from. And because we do a lot of outsourcing and team augmentation through my colleagues or employees, I was also involved in many of recruitment processes. And I think that one is the biggest pathology of our industry, but that's the other presentation probably. Not so hype-driven anymore, because I'm old probably. And because all of that, what I'm trying to say is that I'm no more ashamed of making mistakes until we learn on them. kudos for a presentation about Chernobyl, by the way. So yeah, let's go and discuss it. So the first one is about, how we call it, like working in a few projects at once, and I will just tell the story. So we were, three of our guys were working with our partner for a big pharmacy company, and they needed to change lead developer, but didn't want a senior from us, but because they figured out that they will hire someone and still have better margin on him. So they hired one guy, he left after 1 month, not sure why, and then they hired another one. I spoke with him, we were quite excited. He was quite skilled, really communicative, basically a perfect person for the lead developer position. But of course, I stalked him at LinkedIn and other social media and found that he worked with a company that my friend of is CEO. So I asked him why they are not working together anymore. And he told me that, yeah, he was great, but at some point we started to believe that he might be working on a few projects at once because he was delivering slower and slower and being worse at communication. But they didn't have a proof, but decided to let him go. And since I didn't have a proof, they weren't sure about it. I didn't want to escalate it. So I only spoke with my guys to be aware of that possibility and communicate if something will come up. After 2 months, they told me that, yeah, it's terrible already. He's not responding. His velocity is going down and down. It's hard to catch him to a meeting and so on. So I finally called our partner and started to telling him about that, but he interrupted me and told me that they're already firing him because of the same reasons. And that would be a story, and it wouldn't be worth to tell you that probably, but during the next 2 months, I got 2 new projects. And the history of those projects was, there was a guy, he was about to deliver some features or upgrade the Rails version or whatever it was there to deliver. But he didn't deliver anything, of course, took his salary. And of course, in those 2 projects, that was the same person, Dominic C. I won't share his last name, unless you approach me personally. But I think we should like do that. And it would be the end of story. It was at the previous conference, but after the previous conference, not even after, 1 hour after my presentation, I got 2 messages on LinkedIn from people who weren't even on the conference, but their colleagues from conference called them and told them about Dominic. And those messages was, is Dominic last name? And there was his last name, and yeah, it was him. So he's still doing that. So what I'm trying to say, let's don't do that and make a noise. I mean, let's talk about it. Don't be shy if someone fucked you up. Just tell other people about that in the community. Ruby community is not so big as you can see, and we can track those guys. What are the lessons there? I think that's quite funny. Most of the industries use referrals for years, like probably a few hundred years. And since IT was always about stealing employers, no one used referrals because how you can ask a former or current employer about, I would like to steal that one, do you recommend him? But I think after the session, there is not such a big problem about that, so maybe we should use it more often. We already had it once, like I had an employer and his new boss-to-be called me if I recommend him, and I was really recommending him because he was a good guy. So yeah, I think we can use those. Most of the people there are really open-minded, so I don't see any reason not to do that. Pair programming is awesome, even if it comes to learning or sharing knowledge, but also if you have someone new in the team that you don't trust yet, maybe that's the great tool to do something with it. If, as an employer, you see or have any doubts about other person not being honest with the rest of the team, you should raise it as soon as possible, because you all work together and should have the shared goal. And maybe some of you have more ideas how to avoid those kind of situations. Okay, maybe during networking someone will share. Okay, that one is about what's the most difficult part in IT, so caching, invalidation, and naming. So if it comes to senior, that's a fun story. There's still a big, let's say big company in Poland, which is like 400 developers, consultancy agency, and they figured out they want to build a Ruby team That was a few years ago. But how to hire Ruby lead developer if you don't have any Ruby knowledge in the company? So they approached to us if we can help them recruiting the new Ruby team lead. I agreed to that. I always like to speak with new people. But they found those people. We only was about to check them out. And we received 2 resumes. One was a guy having 1 year of experience in programming. And the second person, a girl, she had 3 years of experience, which was better, but in one project where she was alone. That was a really tiny project when there was only 1 developer, and that was the whole experience of those people. The first guy told us that, yeah, I have 1 year of experience in development, but for 2 years I was speaking with developers. So basically, there are 3 years. But the girl was really great, really ambitious. She did a lot after work. So yeah, her skill was more than average for 3 years, but for a lead developer building a team in big, almost corporation, not good enough in my opinion. We were quite honest with her that we like what we see, but still we asked her why you are a senior. In her resume, she was a senior, also currently working in a big Polish company, and she told me that there is a policy in their company. If you run your project by yourself, then you are a senior. Basically, you know why they do that, because they can sell her with a senior rate, not middle developer rate. And that's it, basically, if it comes to the story. But my thoughts are more like, we know, I don't have too much thoughts about it, but mostly what I'm trying to say, as developers, we know that how naming is hard, and we should name things properly. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes we should ask more, like, what you mean by senior developer? Senior at what? What exactly you expect from that person to deliver, and in which project? What is the brighter context? I personally know and use those simple words when talking with business, because basically we are just saying what great it will be, but sometimes we have to be more strict if it comes to nomenclature and propose something more. I think something else that I saw in few companies that I really like was like a really wide skill map with wages of different skills, and you can check what you know, how much you know it, and sum those points up, and then you have some more ideas, and you can present that skill map to a person who is asking you what kind of developer you are. Okay, and third one. For first 5 years of the company, we had only 1 client, really toxic one. It was the biggest insurance agency in Poland. As a small company, we didn't have a big capacity to rapidly increase velocity. And since they were mostly insuring schools, at the end of the summer, there was a lot of needs for new features, long story short. And at some point, they realized that instead of asking us to do that quicker, and we have our limitations, they decided to hire a second company to work on the same repository with us. I asked them how it will look like in terms of coding culture, like processes, deployment processes, code reviewing processes, and so on and so on. And client told me, I don't care, handle it. Unless, if you want, I will fire both of you. Really cool guy, I like them. There was a cool product owner that basically handled all of it through the years, and it only worked because of him. But if it comes to the owner of the company, he was a jerk, basically. So what's the story? They hired the second company. We talked with them. We explained them what are our processes and culture. We kindly asked them to test their code, especially if we want to review it later. Test would be really useful for the sake of understanding what they are trying to do there. They, of course, nodded that, yeah, sure. And during 3 months, they never contacted us. And at some Friday, I believe, or Thursday, client contacted us that, yeah, they prepared the whole module. If we can review it, because at Monday it have to be on production. That was around, 600 files changed. It's mostly Ruby files with logic and stuff like that, some calculations. So we opened the pull merge request and found at least 50 files where there were unresolved conflicts, 0 files with tests. and they had 1 day to fix it. Yeah, so there was stuff to comment it, but we at least asked them that if you want to merge it to production, please resolve those conflicts at least. So day later, at Friday evening, we got a call. There is Christoph somewhere. Christoph, you there? Yeah, my brother. We lived back then together, and we spent whole month fixing what they do, because Radosław was his name. Was at the party at Friday when he reminded himself that he have to deploy it. So I didn't even know that GitHub back then had IDE on the mobile. So he go to GitHub, open IDE from mobile, try to find all those conflicts, delete some of the lines and some of them keep, and deployed it. And for next 2 days, we were, I remember, in which room sitting next to each other and trying to make it work somehow. And guess what? Is anyone told us thank you after all? Not so much. I don't even think we were paid for over hours, working at weekend. So basically the most important part is there are many fish in the ocean. I mean, there are other clients, and even if you think you cannot find them, I don't know. For our company, the most important moment in the history of company was leaving that client and finding new ones, risking closing the company. But yeah, I'm finally eating something else than potatoes with onion. So yeah, so be more assertive with clients, or stupid ideas that they have, and propose some other ones. I mean, the idea of just working with those guys without any proper process around it. And sometimes just say no and look how world burns, but you are not responsible for that. And yeah, as a young entrepreneur back then, I didn't care about agreements too much, and that's the lesson learned. Yeah, I will go further probably. I'm not sure how about time. Yeah, I have to speed it up. So, who of you was on the pointless meeting? Yeah, so we are handing project for other team. Our developer was quite young yet, so he was really stressful about it. He prepared a long technical presentation about most common things to do there, because that was only maintenance project. 6 people from new team was on that call. Client, I was there, and our developer. He spent 1 hour to explaining all those things. After that hour, he asked if there are any questions. There were no questions, so he asked again. That was no option that there are no questions, but there were still no questions. I have to mention that because I think that's quite important, that the team was from India. And we asked client to ask those guys, maybe they don't get us, or I don't know why, but they are not asking questions at all, and that's disturbing. And he started to ask all of them one by name if they have any question, and each single person from the technical meeting told us that they are not developers, they didn't understand anything, but it is recorded, so someone technical will watch it. And then maybe ask question when we will be not working with them anymore. So I think agenda and participants legend is quite important and could be helpful. We could probably make that meeting an email. I think understanding cultural differences is also important there, because probably people from our culture would stop us maybe and tell us that we expected some other kind of knowledge to share there. Sometimes maybe if client is not accepting that this doesn't make any sense, accept it and give them invoice. Yeah, that's one of my most favorite quote, but it's not the whole quote. That's the whole quote. Not sure how helpful it is, but it is what it is. Yeah. So it's still about cultural difference. That was biggest, as far as I know, biggest cryptocurrency market in China. They're already closed, thankfully, because it couldn't work. And my colleagues sent me like 2 screens of discussion between their CTO and the new team. CTO was from United States and new team was from China. And he was asking them repetitively and reminding them how important documentation is, but he was only referring to documentation as a docs. And he was telling them how important it is. They were telling him that they understand it. He was telling them to update it each time when they update some code. They were telling him that, of course. And after 2 screens of that kind of discussion from a few days, he specifically asked one of them to share what the current version of docs. And then he asked, yeah, of course, but what are those docs? So basically, all those days, they had no clue what he's talking about, but never have, I don't know, what was lacking, but they never told him that they don't know what he's talking about. Maybe because, they accepted that he is the boss and they have to follow, they cannot obey the orders or whatever. But yeah, that was what it was. And I think, and again, understanding our differences could be helpful there. Maybe Joe, because it was his name, did his research more about the new team. Maybe not, I don't know. I think as co-workers, we should communicate if we feel like our team doesn't understand us too much. Yeah, and I think we should integrate more with our teams, especially remote. Maybe alcohol is not the best way to do that. Probably even, I don't know, playing, if you're a man of culture or woman of culture, probably playing StarCraft together would be the way to go. But there are other activities, not as good, but yeah, whatever it takes. Yeah, crowd check. Who saw any situation when a lot of money was wasted because of the cloud?
Because of what?
Because of the cloud, sorry. Yeah, for example, so what I'm trying to say, my story, probably 80% of you have better one, or at least with bigger amounts, but the idea is the same. So the same client from the first story, like the pharmacy company, they had their CTO, he left at some point, and a few years later, one of my guys told me the story that they just realized that for last year they were spending 10,000 euros per month because they didn't update their Postgres. And of course, AWS informed them about that by sending the email for former CTO that's not in the company for 4 years. And they did their job, yeah? Updating Postgres took them about 6 hours. And it costed them 120,000 euros. So yeah, I don't know exactly how to avoid it. That's quite complex issue of big corporations and communication, yeah? But I think sometimes we as developers could care more about what brings us value, but also what costs a lot. And maybe we should dig deeper about if we cannot propose any improvement in terms of how much does it cost. Of course, we can also consider leaving the cloud or propose it. I feel like most of you know what's the DHH approach to that. By the way, who was happy client of Heroku during the last few days? Who knows what happened in Heroku during the last few days? Oh, not many of you. So there was a little bit of issues there. Let's call it like that. Yeah, let me check the time. I have 5 minutes, yeah? Anyone is tracking that? Yeah, okay. So we had to, with that insurance agency, we had to integrate with really, they were agency, not the insurance company. So they were selling insurance from different companies. So we had to integrate with one of the oldest APIs that was on Polish market, I believe. Of course, through SOAP. Who knows SOAP APIs? Oh, great. Only old folks here, I suppose. But yeah, it was what it was. I remember that we estimated it after reading the documentation for 160 hours. Then we learned that nothing in documentation is correct. After 700 hours, we basically surrender because like for days we had errors like there is an error. That was the whole error message that we got. And then we had to figure out what's bad in the XML by, I don't know, let's call it reverse engineering or whatever. But we surrender when for 2 weeks there was same error. So probably we broke our XML somehow. But we switched back to the version that was working. It's still not working. So we are sending emails to the support because after 1 week they were responding, or sometimes 2 weeks. And eventually they send us an email, oh, you know, because that app is using the other service and that service is down for the last 2 weeks. No one sent you a memo? No one sent us a memo, and we spent 2 weeks figuring out what we broke. And my lessons there is to explain for a client, like, you know, if you are in the product company, probably you don't have that issue, but sometimes non-technical client doesn't see the risks of integrating with external vendor. And he often doesn't even care about that stuff and don't even think about any agreement with the vendor. In this case, I really believe they could have any agreement that that API will work, or if not, there will be some consequences on other sides that not only we suffer. It's also important to have a trust with your client. So if he's really into fixed price model, then you can at least integrating with the API do on time and material model because it's the only reasonable way. Yeah, and check the errors clarity at API before you commit to do any investigation instead of, you know, just following orders and estimating integration with non-working API. That will be really quick. Once we were inheriting some projects, and I was checking the code, and I found there are only happy path everywhere. They never stored any errors anywhere. And I asked them, what's it like, what I'm missing, where you do that, how you, I don't know, automated it, where you are catching errors. And those guys told me, what errors? My code is perfect. I don't generate errors. Why should you? I don't know, that's just a fun story. And that one is my favorite. It's also just fun. There was a company that wanted us to upgrade some really small application. No, they wanted some new feature in a really old and small application. I saw that it's, I don't know, Rails 2 there. I told them that before we upgrade to any stable version, I won't touch it, and estimated the upgrade. They refused that estimation, so we said, okay, goodbye, maybe next time. Day later, their system broke because Heroku increased the minimum CentOS version, which was involved to the minimum Ruby version. So the system broke, but they couldn't believe that I didn't broke it or by purpose because they refused my estimation. I sent them changelogs for Heroku, like articles about that, but well, oh yeah, okay. They never called back again. So, and that's my favorite quote from the office, and I believe it fits there. And two more, let's say, sentences to wrap it up. One that my friend calls Podlasian optimistic melancholism. Podlasia is our region. So life is bad or decent. So if it's decent, then it's good. The same with the projects, yeah? If your project is decent, be happy about it. And yesterday we took Ali to beer or water. You probably don't see it, but you will see it soon. I found it when Ali was complaining for something. So yeah, you're gonna suffer, but you are gonna be happy about it. Thank you. So that's me. Happy to meet you if I don't know you yet, but if I do know you, I'm still happy to meet you. And if anyone would like to join our event once per year in Polish Lakes, we want to sail with other developers, chat with the fire camp, maybe drink some moonshine, maybe not, or whatever you like. Water is also cool, or kombucha, then approach me. I will add you to our mailing list because it's not like even that we advertise on, I don't know, internet. We just have friends of the friends of the friends from the community. The community of sailing nerds is growing, so happy to add you. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you.